Just the red light tells you it's recording.
Yep. No problem.
So, just for the purposes of this interview, I'm the only one who's going to hear it. If you could just, and transcribe it really. So if you could just introduce yourself, tell me who you are and what you do at this studio school.
So I'm Julia Ringham. I'm head of Space Studio Banbury, or head of school. I'm vice principal across the Banbury Aspirations campus.
Okay.
And newly in post, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, maybe even 8. I'm losing count.
Somewhere along the way.
Not long.
And so where were you before this?
So I've been working at Banbury Academy for 24 years.
I didn't realise it was
NQT.
that long. Wow,
yeah.
Okay.
So I was 21 when I started.
Wow.
I'm 47 now.
Wow. You know this campus very well.
I do.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm the constant. But I've never worked over here.
Okay. So this is kind of your first foray over to this side of the campus.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even when it was all one campus, this was the one bit of the school I'd never was never based in. This used to be our maths department, and I was never based over here. I think
so this building kind of existed before the
this
studio?
building existed as a secondary modern girls. So this school was a secondary modern girls, a secondary modern boys, and a grammar school, all on one site.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then when the comprehensive education was introduced, it was a flagship, one of the first comprehensive schools. And it was a school at one point of over 2,500, biggest school in Europe.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah. So all these buildings, including the one on the left as you come up the road, which was the grammar school, were all part of the same school when I first came. We had 1,800 when I joined 24 years ago.
Wow, okay. So you've kind of seen some of that transition.
Some massive changes, both sort of in terms of building, but in organisation and size and all sorts.
Kind of explains this campus. I was wondering about that.
Yeah, that's right. So this was secondary modern girls. In fact, my mother-in-law came to school here. It's just very strange.
That is actually very strange.
And actually, if you look at it closely, although it looks very modern and spacey, actually you can see this is actually quite an old sort of 60s, 50s building.
Yeah, and feel to it.
Yeah, especially when you go around the back. Yeah.
The front, they've done a good job of refurbishing it.
Yeah, it does look quite modern, doesn't it?
Yeah, so they've done a good job with refurbing it.
So that's why it's all sort of bitty, like it is.
Okay. So what was the appeal with kind of moving over to the studio school?
If I'm honest, there wasn't. It was a restructure of senior team.
Okay.
There'd been a restructure in the September before. In fact, I might need to backtrack a bit.
Okay.
So 3 years ago when the school started with a chap called Mike Grocott, who was the head of school, so he was employed to set it up, get it going. He then left a couple of years ago. There was a term or two where a primary head locally was brought up to sort of stand in as in charge leadership-wise until they established a principal. Last September, with the restructure at Banbury Academy, the then head of Science College, because we divided into 4 vertical colleges over there, was moved across to be head here because the role was deemed to be one for somebody with a science background. Okay. So I couldn't apply for that anyway, even if I had, but I didn't even contemplate it. Okay. So he came across here for one reason and another. That didn't work out. So at February half term he left. Okay. And at that point Sylvia asked me if I would come across. So although I'm not a scientist, I felt that it was the leadership that was needed rather than the science particularly, that we could cope without that bit. Okay. So that's why I came across, and then there was some reshuffling behind that with people taking on my job and so it sort of happened bit by accident. Really.
So we'll start off a bit easy. What's kind of been the best experience about coming here, making that move here?
Personally, it's been really nice having my own little school, and you've got the best of both worlds because you've got some autonomy in the sense that Sylvia leaves me on a day-to-day basis to run the school. Okay. But you've got the security of being part of a larger campus. Okay. I don't have to worry about HR, I don't have to worry about finance, I don't have to worry about recruitment.
Because that's kind of taken over.
Because it's all dealt with as a campus. Okay. I don't have to worry about data and timetabling, that's done as a campus. So you get all the best bits without having to worry about those bits. You've got a huge support network really, which if you were a tiny school of 100 like we are, not working with a school like Banbury, if I was trying to run this school without that support, as a little school of 100, let's say we're in the middle of nowhere, I would be having to do all of those things as well.
Brilliant. Okay.
Yeah, so the good thing for me, it's been able to mould the school into something I've wanted it to be.
Okay.
And because it was in a little bit of a muddle,
Okay.
I've used the expression a bit of a country club.
Okay.
So people like coming here, they all got on well, it was
Yeah.
all very nice.
Yeah.
But in terms of standards and academic expectations and rigour,
Okay.
that was lacking, and
Okay.
what was going to happen was that
Okay.
the students were going to underachieve.
Okay.
So they would have had a nice time, but they weren't going to come out with what they needed.
Okay.
So it's been the challenge for me is trying to keep that ethos at the same time as pushing them harder and expecting more of them and getting some systems and things in place. And then the really exciting bit, which I've spent hours doing, has been trying to return the school to the ethos of Studio School around the industrial links because of the changes in the headships. A lot of the links we've had have either gone by the by or people have a very negative opinion of us. So I've been having to go out into a world that's totally unknown to me, the world of STEM. So it's been a bit of a shock to the system, but I've now found my way around that.
Yep.
I've made contacts with the right people, and we're trying to rebuild. So we've got some links back again with some really exciting. We've got BMW on board. We've never had that before.
That's what Lucy was saying.
We've got Rutherford back on board.
Fantastic.
I'm working very hard with the National Space Academy because they are particularly anti us now. So they've gone from being on our governing board when it was set up to being actually, we don't know, we want anything to do with you, and they've actually said that.
Oh wow.
But now they have just emailed me to say they're willing to meet to talk about the future.
Okay.
So it's coming.
It's a start.
It's coming.
Start. Yeah. Okay.
And that's been the exciting bit. So that's been, in the last 8 weeks, we've made some amazing contacts.
Great.
Which is what studio schools are supposed to be about, because otherwise we're just a little version of that school there. We should be something different.
Yep.
If we're not different, we've got nothing to market and we're not going to get kids here. So it's all part of that.
Okay. So I'm going to just kind of come back to two things that you'd said, and I just want to have you build on it a little bit. So you mentioned you kind of wanted a specific vision for the school. What is that vision?
Well, it's a STEM school. I'm
Okay.
trying to get away from space. I'm afraid I've cut the poor old spaceman off our new marketing materials. He's had to be cut. He's gone because it's too narrow.
Okay.
And in terms of appeal,
Okay.
if people aren't particularly into space and astronomy, they're thinking it's not the school for them. Well, actually, it's broader than that.
Okay.
So a STEM school, it's a narrower curriculum. It's not a easy non-academic curriculum, and that's the thing I've got to get right on the marketing, because there's a perception that we're for kids who aren't academic. So because we've got industry links, which is a complete misunderstanding. So it is academic, triple sciences, computing, possibly further maths, and possibly statistics for year 11s next year. So it's definitely not non-academic. Industry links, and then the thing that makes us totally different is the project-based learning element of the curriculum. So it's not clubs that you opt into after school to do that sort of thing. There is curriculum time during the timetabled week for you to do those things with the real-life business links that make it relevant for the students.
Okay, so you're really trying to bring that back into the curriculum time.
Yes.
Okay.
So the curriculum time's there, and some of the projects have become a bit like running a normal project in a school.
Like make a poster or make a presentation type thing?
And they've lost the connections to because ideally we want every project, it's launched by an industry, it's judged by an industry at the end, that we, where possible, go and do a site visit or visit a company that are in a related industry. That we have ambassadors coming in connected to that, so we tie it into careers and for each project that's kind of the diet for it. That's our vision for it, really.
Okay.
Which is what makes you different.
Yeah. So you're really trying to kind of rebrand that ethos, if you will. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then the other thing that you mentioned was a bit of the country club feel, and not as much rigor. Why do you think that happened? Or was it kind of the vision from the start? Is there something about the studio school model?
I think there's a couple of things. Some of it's to do with leadership. And I think that I mean, this is confidential, of course, but